My name is Rachel Whitaker, and I've spent the last decade trying to forget the family I left behind. But as I stood in the opulent ballroom of the Grand Plaza Hotel, watching my younger sister Daphne twirl in her wedding gown, I realized some wounds never truly heal. You're nothing without us, Rachel. You owe us everything. My mother Miriam's voice sliced through the crowd's chatter, sharp as a scalpel. I gripped my champagne flute tighter, willing myself to stay calm. I don't owe you anything, Mother, I replied, keeping my voice low. I built my life on my own terms. Miriam's eyes narrowed, her perfectly painted lips curling into a sneer. Is that what you tell yourself to sleep at night? That you're some self-made success story? Before I could respond, Daphne appeared at our mother's side, her veil trailing behind her like a gossamer cloud. Oh, Rachel, she cooed, false sweetness dripping from every syllable. I'm so glad you could make it. I was worried you'd be too busy with your… What is it you do again? Consulting. I bit back a retort. I run my own tech firm, Daphne, as you well know. Daphne waved her hand dismissively. Right. Well, isn't it nice that you could take time away from your little business to celebrate your only sister's special day? I forced a smile. Wouldn't miss it for the world. Speaking of missing things, Miriam interjected, her gaze sweeping the room. Where's that husband of yours? Eli, wasn't it? The one from the esteemed Whitaker family? He's parking the car, I said, silently willing Eli to hurry up and join me in this lion's den. Daphne's fiancé, Clive, approached our little group, his arms snaking around my sister's waist. Rachel, so good to finally meet you in person. I've heard so much about you. I doubted that, but I shook his offered hand anyway. Likewise, Clive. Congratulations on your big day. Clive's grip lingered a moment too long. You know, Rachel, I've been following your company's progress. Impressive stuff. We should talk business sometime. Daphne's smile faltered for a moment before she quickly recovered. Oh, darling, let's not bore Rachel with shop talk. It's our wedding day. I caught the flash of irritation in Clive's eyes before he masked it with a jovial laugh. Of course, my love. Just making conversation. Rachel. Eli's voice cut through the tension like a lifeline. I turned to see my husband striding towards us, looking dashing in his tailored suit. There you are, I said, relief washing over me as he planted a kiss on my cheek. Miriam's eyes darted between us, her disapproval palpable. Well, isn't this cozy? The prodigal daughter returns with her prince charming. Eli, ever the diplomat, smiled warmly. It's good to see you, Miriam. Daphne, you look stunning. Clive, congratulations. As pleasantries were exchanged, I caught Daphne eyeing Eli with poorly concealed envy. It was a look I'd seen countless times growing up, whenever I achieved something she couldn't. You know, Rachel, Daphne said, her voice sickly sweet, it's such a shame you've been so absent from our lives. We could have been so close if you hadn't run off to play career woman. I felt Eli's hand on the small of my back, steadying me. I think Rachel's done quite well for herself, he said, his tone light but firm. Miriam scoffed. Yes, well, some of us prioritize family over personal gain. The words hung in the air, heavy with years of resentment and unspoken accusations. I took a deep breath, ready to defend myself, when the wedding planner appeared, ushering Daphne away for photos. As they walked away, I heard my mother mutter, "You think you can just walk away from your family? We made you who you are." I watched them go, a mix of emotions swirling inside me. Eli squeezed my hand. "You okay?" he whispered. I nodded, forcing a smile. "I'm fine. It's just one day, right?" But as I looked around the room, at the faces of relatives I barely recognized and the life I'd left behind, I couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. The past, it seemed, wasn't done with me yet. As the wedding reception dragged on, I found myself seeking refuge on the hotel's balcony. The cool night air a welcome respite from the suffocating atmosphere inside. Eli joined me, his hand resting comfortingly on my shoulder. "You think you can just walk away from your family? We made you who you are." Miriam's voice echoed in my head, her earlier words still stinging. "Want to talk about it?" Eli asked gently. I sighed, leaning against the railing. It's just being here, seeing them again. It's bringing back everything I've tried so hard to forget. Memories flooded back, unbidden. The constant comparisons to Daphne, the cutting remarks about my appearance, my choices, my very existence. The way Miriam's eyes would light up when Daphne entered a room, while I faded into the background. You were always so dramatic, Rachel. Daphne's voice cut through my reverie. She stood in the doorway, champagne flute in hand. Still playing the victim after all these years? I straightened, steeling myself. I'm not playing anything, Daphne. I'm living my life on my terms. She laughed, the sound brittle and forced. Oh, please. You ran away because you couldn't handle not being the center of attention for once. Is that what you tell yourself? I shot back. That I left because I was jealous of you? Daphne's eyes narrowed. Why else would you abandon your family? We needed you, Rachel. But you were too selfish to see beyond your own nose. Eli stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. I think that's enough, Daphne. It's your wedding day. Why don't you go enjoy it? She glared at him, then at me. You always did have a knack for getting others to fight your battles, didn't you, Rachel? With that, she spun on her heel and stalked back inside. I let out a shaky breath. I'm sorry you had to see that. Eli pulled me close. You have nothing to apologize for. Your sister, on the other hand, she's always been like this, I murmured. Competitive, jealous. And Miriam encouraged it, pitting us against each other. You've come so far, Rachel, Eli said softly. Look at what you've built. Your company, our family. You did that, not them. I nodded, trying to draw strength from his words. But the doubt still lingered, a poisonous whisper in the back of my mind. Had I really succeeded in spite of my family, or was I still that scared little girl, desperate for approval? As if on cue, Clive appeared, his smile just a touch too wide. There you are. I've been looking everywhere for you, Rachel. I was hoping we could chat about that business proposition. I exchanged a glance with Eli. Clive, I appreciate the interest, but this really isn't the time or place. He waved a hand dismissively. Nonsense. There's no better time to discuss the future than at a wedding, right? I've got some ideas that could really benefit both of us. The eagerness in his voice set off alarm bells. I remembered the way he'd looked at me earlier, the barely concealed calculation in his eyes. I'm sorry, Clive, but my answer is no, I said firmly. I'm not interested in any business ventures right now. His smile faltered for a moment before he recovered. Well, think about it, won't you? Family should help family, after all. As he walked away, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to his proposal than met the eye. The way he'd said family felt like a threat, not an endearment. Eli squeezed my hand. You okay? I took a deep breath, squaring my shoulders. I will be. Let's go back inside. I have a feeling this night is far from over. As we re-entered the reception, I caught sight of Miriam watching us, her eyes cold and calculating. Whatever game they were playing, I was determined not to be a pawn in it. I'd fought too hard for my independence to let them drag me back now. The battle lines were drawn. It was time to show my family exactly who Rachel Whitaker had become. The wedding reception was in full swing, but I couldn't shake the unease that had settled over me. Clive's earlier proposal lingered in my mind, a puzzle piece that didn't quite fit. As I made my way through the crowd, I felt a hand grip my arm. You could have been part of this, Rachel, if only you'd stayed loyal. Miriam's voice hissed in my ear, her words laced with manipulation. I turned to face her, keeping my voice low. Loyal to what, Mother? Your constant criticism? Your blatant favoritism? Her eyes narrowed. Family, Rachel. Loyalty to family. Something you seem to have forgotten. Before I could respond, Clive appeared at my side, his charm turned up to 11. Rachel, I've been looking for you. I was hoping we could discuss that business proposition in more detail. I glanced between Clive and Miriam, noting the subtle nod my mother gave him. Something was definitely off. Clive, I appreciate your interest, but as I said before, I'm not looking for any new ventures right now, I replied firmly. He leaned in closer, lowering his voice. I think you'll want to hear me out, Rachel. It could be mutually beneficial. The implication in his tone sent a chill down my spine. I stepped back, creating some distance. What exactly are you proposing, Clive? He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Your tech firm has some impressive government contracts. Contracts that could open doors for other ventures. Realization dawned. You want access to my company's connections? For what? Clive shrugged, feigning nonchalance. Let's just say there are certain medical advancements that could use a fast track through regulatory approval. I felt my anger rising. So, that's what this is about. You want to use my company to push through questionable medical treatments. Now, Rachel, Miriam interjected, her voice sickly sweet. Don't be so dramatic. Clive is offering you a chance to help your family. Isn't that what you've always wanted? To be useful? The old hurt flared, but I pushed it down. I'm not interested in being useful if it means compromising my ethics or my company's reputation. Clive's facade cracked slightly. Think carefully about this, Rachel. Family should help family after all. It would be a shame if certain information about your past came to light. The threat hung in the air between us. I felt a surge of protective anger, not just for myself, but for everything I'd built. Are you threatening me, Clive? I asked, my voice dangerously calm. He backpedaled slightly. Of course not. I'm simply pointing out the benefits of cooperation. I stood my ground, meeting his gaze. Let me be very clear. I will not be blackmailed or manipulated into anything. My past is just that, past. And my present and future are my own. Miriam stepped closer, her voice low and venomous. You ungrateful child. After everything we've done for you, everything you've done? I cut her off, years of pent-up frustration boiling over. You mean the constant criticism? The emotional manipulation? The way you pitted Daphne and me against each other our entire lives? I saw heads turning in our direction, but I couldn't stop now. I built my life and my success in spite of you, not because of you. And I won't let you, or anyone else, threaten that. Clive's smile had vanished entirely now. You're making a mistake, Rachel. You have no idea what you're turning down. No, Clive, I replied, my voice steady. You have no idea who you're dealing with. I'm not the scared little girl you can push around anymore. Try to come after me or my company, and you'll regret it. With that, I turned on my heel and walked away, leaving them stunned in my wake. As I made my way back to Eli, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. For the first time in years, I felt truly free from my family's shadow. Eli met me halfway, concern etched on his face. Everything okay? I took a deep breath, then smiled. You know what? I think it finally is. As we left the reception, I knew this was far from over. But for the first time, I felt ready to face whatever came next, on my own terms. The wedding reception was winding down, but the tension in the air remained palpable. I found myself in a quiet corner of the venue, trying to gather my thoughts when Daphne approached, her wedding gown rustling softly. You were always the smart one, Rachel. Why didn't you help us when we needed you? Daphne's voice was a mix of accusation and desperation, catching me off guard. I turned to face her, confusion etched on my face. What are you talking about, Daphne? What help? She let out a bitter laugh. Oh, don't play dumb. It doesn't suit you. You must have known about our financial troubles. Mom's been trying to reach out to you for months. The pieces started to fall into place. Clive's insistent business proposal, Miriam's manipulative words. I had no idea, I said honestly. No one told me anything. Daphne's facade cracked, revealing a vulnerability I hadn't seen in years. We're drowning, Rachel. Mom's medical bills, Dad's failed investments. This wedding? It's all smoke and mirrors. I felt a twinge of guilt, quickly followed by anger. And what? You thought you'd guilt me into bailing you out at my own sister's wedding. We didn't know what else to do. Daphne exclaimed, her voice rising. You're the one with the successful company, the perfect life. We hoped, that I'd swoop in and save the day. I finished for her. After years of being treated like I was nothing, Daphne's eyes flashed with a mixture of shame and resentment. You abandoned us, Rachel. You left and never looked back. I took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm of emotions inside me. I left because I had to, Daphne. To survive. To build something for myself. And now you won't even help your own family, she spat. You can't guilt me into this, I said firmly. Whatever financial mess you're in, it's not my responsibility to fix it. Daphne's desperation turned to anger. So that's it? You're just going to turn your back on us again? Before I could respond, Clive appeared, his arms snaking around Daphne's waist. Everything all right here, ladies? He asked, his tone falsely cheerful. I saw the way Daphne leaned into him, the relief in her eyes at his presence. It hit me then, Daphne wasn't just financially dependent on this marriage. She was emotionally invested in a way I hadn't realized. Clive, I said carefully, I think we need to have an honest conversation about your business proposal. His eyes narrowed slightly. I thought you weren't interested. I'm interested in the truth, I replied. About why you're really so keen on partnering with my company. Clive's charm faltered for a moment. I told you, it's a mutually beneficial arrangement. Is it? I challenged. Or is it a desperate attempt to save yourself from financial ruin? Daphne gasped, looking between Clive and me. What is she talking about? I saw the panic in Clive's eyes, the way he tightened his grip on Daphne. It's nothing, darling. Just business talk. But Daphne wasn't buying it. No, tell me the truth. What's going on? As I watched the scene unfold, I felt a strange mix of vindication and sadness. The perfect facade of Daphne's life was crumbling before my eyes, just as mine had years ago. I think, I said quietly, that we all need to sit down and have a very honest conversation about what's really going on here. Clive's face hardened. You have no idea what you're getting into, Rachel. No, I replied, standing my ground. I think for the first time, I'm seeing things clearly, and it's time for the truth to come out. As we stood there, the three of us locked in a tense standoff, I realized that this wedding had become more than just a family reunion. It was a reckoning with my past, with the lies we'd all been living, and with the hard truths we'd been avoiding for far too long. The real battle was just beginning, and I was determined to face it head-on, no matter the cost. The tension in the room was palpable as Miriam and Daphne joined Clive and me in a secluded corner of the reception hall. Eli stood by my side, his presence a comforting anchor in the storm that was about to break. What's the meaning of this, Rachel? Miriam hissed, her eyes darting between us. Causing a scene at your sister's wedding? Have you no shame? I took a deep breath, steeling myself. I think it's time we all stopped pretending, Mother. The lies, the manipulation, it ends now. Daphne's face crumpled, tears threatening to spill. Rachel, please. We can work this out. Work what out? I asked, my voice steady. The fact that you've been lying about your financial situation? That you're using this wedding as a smokescreen for your desperation? Clive stepped forward, his charm replaced by barely concealed panic. Now, let's not get carried away. Family matters are complicated, Dash. Save it, Clive. I cut him off. I know about your attempts to use my company for your own gain. Did you really think I wouldn't figure it out? Miriam's eyes flashed with anger. How dare you speak to him like that? After everything we've done for you, Dash. Done for me. I laughed, the sound harsh and bitter. You mean the years of emotional abuse? The constant comparisons to Daphne? The way you made me feel like I was never good enough? The words hung in the air, heavy with years of unspoken pain. I saw shock register on the faces of nearby guests who had stopped to listen. I won't be your scapegoat anymore, I declared, my voice steady and resolute. I've built my life without you. I've succeeded despite your best efforts to tear me down. Daphne's tears were flowing freely now. Rachel, please. We're family. We need you. I felt a twinge of sympathy, but I pushed it aside. Family doesn't manipulate each other, Daphne. Family doesn't try to exploit each other's success. Clive's facade finally cracked. You have no idea what you're doing, Rachel. The connections your company has. The doors it could open for us. For you mean? I corrected him. Did you even tell Daphne about your plans? Or was she just another pawn in your game? Daphne turned to Clive, confusion and hurt etched on her face. What is she talking about, Clive? I watched as the realization dawned on her, the perfect image of her fiancé shattering before her eyes. Miriam, ever the manipulator, tried one last time. Rachel, darling, surely we can come to some arrangement. For the sake of family dash. No, I said firmly. I'm done being manipulated. I'm done feeling guilty for my success. I've worked hard for everything I have, and I won't let you take that away from me. I turned to address the onlookers, my voice carrying across the room. For years, I've let my family's version of events define me. I've let their lies and manipulations shape how others see me. But not anymore. I felt Eli squeeze my hand, giving me strength. I am Rachel Whitaker. I built a successful company from the ground up. I have a loving husband and a beautiful son. And I did it all without the support of the people who should have been there for me from the beginning. The room fell silent, the weight of my words hanging in the air. I saw a mix of emotions on the faces around me. Shock, admiration, and in some cases, understanding. Miriam's face had gone pale, her carefully constructed image crumbling before her eyes. Daphne looked lost, torn between her loyalty to our mother and the harsh truths she'd just learned. As for Clive, he stood there, his plans in tatters, the mask of charm completely gone. I took Eli's hand, ready to walk away. This wedding isn't about celebration. It's about lies and desperation. And I won't be a part of it anymore. As we turned to leave, I heard Daphne's broken whisper, "Rachel, wait." But I kept walking. For the first time in my life, I felt truly free. The power had shifted and I was finally in control of my own narrative. The battle wasn't over, I knew that. But as Eli and I stepped out into the cool night air, I felt stronger than ever before. Whatever came next, I was ready to face it head-on. The aftermath of my public confrontation with my family hung heavy in the air as Eli and I made our way to the hotel lobby. We were ready to leave this nightmare behind us when Miriam's voice cut through the silence. "You think you can just erase us from your life? Family isn't that simple," she warned, her voice a mix of anger and desperation. I turned to face her, Eli's hand firmly in mine. "I'm not erasing anyone, Mother. I'm protecting myself and my family from your toxicity." Clive stepped forward, his facade of charm completely gone. "You have no idea what you're doing, Rachel. The connections your company has. They could save us all." "Save you? From what exactly?" I challenged, my patience wearing thin. Clive's eyes darted nervously around the lobby before he leaned in, lowering his voice. "I'm in trouble, Rachel. Deep trouble. There are people, powerful people, who are very interested in the kind of access your company could provide." The pieces suddenly fell into place. "You're not just after business connections, are you? This is about something illegal." Daphne gasped, her eyes wide with shock. "Clive, what is she talking about?" Clive's composure cracked entirely. "It's not what you think, Daphne. I was trying to protect us, to secure our future. By using my sister's company for what? Money laundering? Insider trading?" Daphne's voice rose with each accusation. I felt a mix of vindication and pity watching my sister's perfect world crumble around her. But there was no time to dwell on it as Clive made one last desperate attempt. "Rachel, please," he begged. "If you just sign off on a few deals, use your influence to push through some approvals, I can make it worth your while. We all win." I stood my ground, my voice steady and firm. "No, Clive. I won't compromise my integrity or my company's reputation to save you from your own bad decisions." Miriam, ever the manipulator, tried a different approach. "Rachel, darling, think of your sister. Think of your family. We need you." "Family?" I laughed bitterly. "You've never treated me like family. You've only ever seen me as a means to an end." Daphne, tears streaming down her face, stepped towards me. "Rachel, please. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know about any of this." For a moment, I saw a glimmer of the sister I once knew, vulnerable, scared, and lost. But I couldn't let that sway me. "I'm sorry, Daphne," I said softly. But I can't fix this for you. You need to stand on your own 2 feet. Clive, seeing his plans unravel, made one last desperate move. He grabbed my arm, his eyes wild with panic. You don't understand what's at stake here, Rachel. If I don't deliver, there will be consequences. For all of us. Eli stepped forward, his voice low and dangerous. Take your hands off my wife. Now. The tension in the lobby was electric. Hotel staff and lingering wedding guests watched the scene unfold with a mix of shock and morbid fascination. I wrenched my arm free from Clive's grasp. Whatever mess you're in, Clive, it's your problem. Not mine. Not anymore. Miriam, realizing she was losing control of the situation, made one final plea. Rachel, you can't just walk away. We're blood. We're family. I looked at her, really looked at her, perhaps for the first time in years. I saw the desperation, the fear, and beneath it all, the woman who had never truly known how to love me. Blood doesn't make a family, Mother, I said, my voice steady. Love, support, and respect do. And you've never given me any of those things. With those words, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. The choice between my past and my future had never been clearer. Goodbye, Mother. Goodbye, Daphne, I said, turning to leave. I hope you find a way out of this mess, but it won't be through me. As Eli and I walked out of the hotel, leaving the chaos behind, I knew this wasn't truly the end. The repercussions of this night would echo for years to come. But for the first time in my life, I felt truly free. Whatever came next, I was ready to face it, on my own terms. The days following Daphne's disastrous wedding were a whirlwind of emotions and revelations. I found myself in my office, staring out the window at the city skyline, when my assistant announced an unexpected visitor.
Daphne.
As she walked in, I barely recognized the woman before me. Gone was the polished facade, replaced by a disheveled, broken version of my sister. Rachel, she began, her voice trembling. I don't know where else to go. I gestured for her to sit, my guard still up. What happened, Daphne? She collapsed into the chair, tears welling in her eyes. Everything's fallen apart. Clive.
He's gone.
Disappeared. The police were at our house this morning, asking questions about financial fraud and insider trading. I felt a mix of vindication and pity. I'm sorry, Daphne, but I warned you about him. Her eyes flashed with a familiar anger. You knew? You knew, and you didn't tell me. Would you have believed me if I had? I countered, keeping my voice steady. Daphne deflated, the fight leaving her. No, I suppose not. I was too blinded by everything. We sat in silence for a moment, years of resentment and rivalry hanging between us. You may have tried to break me, but I found strength in your rejection. I finally said, my voice filled with newfound confidence. All those years of being compared to you, of never being good enough for Mother, they made me who I am today. Daphne looked up, surprise etched on her face. I never wanted to break you, Rachel. I was jealous. You were always so strong, so independent. I felt like I could never measure up. The irony of her words wasn't lost on me, and I spent years thinking the same about you. A bitter laugh escaped her lips. What a pair we make. Just then, my office door burst open, revealing a furious Miriam. There you are, she spat, glaring at Daphne. Do you have any idea what you've done? The scandal, the shame you've brought on this family? I stood, placing myself between Miriam and Daphne. That's enough, Mother. Miriam's eyes widened in shock. You're defending her? After everything? I'm not defending anyone, I said calmly. I'm putting an end to this toxic cycle. Miriam's face contorted with rage. How dare you? After all we've sacrificed for you girls, Sacrificed. I cut her off, my voice sharp. You mean the years of manipulation? The constant criticism? The way you pitted us against each other? Daphne stood, her voice small but steady. She's right, Mother. This has to stop. Miriam looked between us, realization dawning that she was losing control. You ungrateful children. You have no idea what I've done to protect this family. Protect us? I laughed bitterly. You've done nothing but tear us apart. The tension in the room was palpable. Miriam, seeing her influence slipping away, made one last desperate attempt. Rachel, darling, surely you can see reason. Your sister needs you now. We need you. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for what I knew I had to do. No, Mother. What Daphne needs is to stand on her own 2 feet. And what you need is to face the consequences of your actions. Daphne gasped, torn between her ingrained loyalty to our mother and the harsh truth of my words. I've built my life, my success, despite your best efforts to hold me back. I continued, my voice growing stronger with each word. I won't let you drag me down now. Miriam's face paled, the reality of her situation finally sinking in. You can't just abandon your family, Rachel. We're all you have. I shook my head, a sense of peace washing over me. No, Mother. You're not all I have. I have a loving husband, a beautiful son, and a life I've built on my own terms. And it's time for me to focus on that. As if on cue, Eli appeared in the doorway, concern etched on his face. Seeing the scene before him, he quickly moved to my side, his presence a silent support. Miriam looked between us, defeat finally settling in her eyes. Without another word, she turned and left, the click of her heels echoing in the silence she left behind. Daphne stood there, lost and uncertain. What happens now? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I turned to her, feeling a mix of empathy and resolve. Now, Daphne, you have a choice. You can keep living in Mother's shadow, or you can find your own path. But whatever you choose, it has to be your decision. As Daphne nodded, tears streaming down her face, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. The battle wasn't over, but for the first time, I felt truly free from my family's influence. Whatever came next, I was ready to face it head-on, with Eli by my side and the strength I'd found within myself. As the dust settled from the tumultuous events of the past few weeks, I found myself standing in the backyard of our home, watching Eli and Caleb play catch. The sound of their laughter filled the air, a stark contrast to the tension and drama that had consumed my life recently. Eli caught my eye and jogged over, leaving Caleb to practice his throws. You okay? He asked, wrapping an arm around my waist. I leaned into him, feeling the warmth of his support. I'm getting there, I replied honestly. Let's focus on the family we've built, Rachel. That's what truly matters, Eli reassured me, his voice steady and comforting. As if on cue, my phone buzzed with a news alert. I hesitated before opening it, already guessing what it might be about. The headline confirmed my suspicions. Tech mogul's sister's engagement ends in scandal, financial fraud uncovered. Eli peered at the screen. Are you going to read it? I paused, then shook my head. No, I don't think I will. Just then, Caleb ran up to us, his face flushed with excitement. Mom, Dad, look. I can throw the ball really far now. We turned our attention to our son, watching as he demonstrated his newfound skill. Pride swelled in my chest, not just for his athletic achievement, but for the resilience he'd shown throughout his recent health struggles. That's amazing, buddy. I cheered, pushing thoughts of Daphne and Miriam to the back of my mind. As the day wore on, we received a call from Caleb's doctor. The latest test results had come back, showing significant improvement in his condition. The news felt like a weight lifting off our shoulders, a reminder of what truly mattered in life. That evening, as we sat around the dinner table, I looked at the faces of my husband and son. This was my family now, not the toxic relationships of my past, but the loving, supportive unit we'd built together. I've been thinking, I said, breaking the comfortable silence. Maybe it's time we took that vacation we've been talking about. Just the 3 of us. Eli's face lit up. I think that's a great idea. What do you say, Caleb? Ready for an adventure? Our son's enthusiastic response filled the room with laughter and excitement as we began to plan our trip. Later that night, as Eli and I prepared for bed, he turned to me with a serious expression. You know, Rachel, I'm really proud of you. The way you've handled everything. You're incredible. I felt a lump form in my throat. I couldn't have done it without you, I replied, squeezing his hand. As we lay in bed, I reflected on the journey that had brought me to this point. The pain of my childhood, the struggles to break free from my family's toxic influence, the challenges of building my own life and career, it had all led me here, to this moment of peace and contentment. I thought about Daphne and Miriam, wondering briefly about their fate. But I realized that their choices and consequences were no longer my burden to bear. I had my own path to follow, my own family to nurture. In the quiet of the night, I made a silent promise to myself to always cherish the family we'd created, to continue growing and thriving, and to never let the shadows of the past dim the brightness of our future. As I drifted off to sleep, I felt a sense of closure wash over me. The chapter of my life dominated by my birth family's drama was finally ending, but a new one, filled with hope, love, and endless possibilities, was just beginning. Tomorrow, we would start planning our vacation. Tomorrow, we would continue building our life together. Tomorrow, and all the days after, would be ours to shape as we saw fit. For the first time in as long as I could remember, I looked forward to the future without fear or reservation. Whatever challenges lay ahead, I knew we would face them together, as a family bound not by blood, but by love, respect, and unwavering support. And that, I realized, was the greatest victory of all.